Alright guys, so this is my second time filming the video. Kept the ISO on auto and the levels were just going up and down. But anyway, Blackmagic Pocket 6K 2023. Is it worth it? What are the pros? What are the cons? That's what the video is for today. Yeah, I bought my Pocket 6K a little bit over 2 years ago. Got it on the secondary market. You know, I think I paid like 1,400 bucks. I got a pretty good deal on the camera. And I'm pretty sure you guys can still pick one up for that same type of price. That all being said, let's get right into the pros. Make sure to stick to the end, go over the downsides of buying the Blackmagic Pocket 6K and why I think you might want to stick with a different camera. Camera's not for everyone, but is for some people. So hopefully this video gives you guys enough information to make the right choice. Let's start with the pros with the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. The first huge upside for this camera is going to be the image quality. There are lots of videos online comparing this camera to Red cameras, to the Red Komodos, to some of the high-end Sony cameras. And I will tell you guys, the image quality on this camera is exceptional, especially for the price. Really what you guys are paying and what you guys are getting as far as image quality, it's just a no-brainer. I think it's hard to explain a camera's quality than just kind of mentioning that it uses a specific type of sensor. It's not really something that I can really explain technically. Obviously, all these cameras have a different sensor, and that's kind of what provides the overall look of the image alongside the lens that you're using, the surrounding that you're in, you know, how you're filming it, things like that. The actual image, you guys really have to test it out yourself, look at some test footage, give you guys a good understanding of what the actual image quality looks like. But again, when it comes to image quality, you guys will not go wrong with this camera. And like I said, the price is just exceptional for the overall quality. So moving into the next pro is all of the recording options of this camera. So the Blackmagic Pocket 6K will actually shoot in ProRes RAW and will also shoot in Blackmagic RAW. So if you guys are now editing in DaVinci, which it seems like everybody is switching over to DaVinci these days, you guys will absolutely love B-RAW. Even if you guys have a slower computer, you're not even gonna have to convert these files to proxies because it will run so quick, so smooth. I have friends that are editing on older computers, and when I give them something like S-Log3 or C-Log, they have issues editing it on these older computers, but when I give them B-RAW, they have no problem. It basically edits it like butter and you can cut through it no problem. And that's just a huge upside to be able to buy a camera for $2,000 or secondhand $1,400 and be able to get, you know, a compressed version of RAW straight out of the camera. Really, your only other option to get these type of formats is buying an external monitor like the Ninja to record your image into the Ninja, and then Ninja would record it into a ProRes file. So again, to be able to have that built into the camera is a huge upside. The camera literally shoots 6K, and I have mixed feelings about shooting in 6K because I do feel like it's overkill in a lot of different situations, as most people are not going to be viewing your film in 6K or 8K anyway. You're probably going to still be viewing it in 4K. And if you guys really think about, you know, cell phones, iPads, televisions, you know, people are not buying 8K monitors these days. And even if you had 8K on this, you know, phone, it's such shrunk down that you're not even going to be able to see the difference between those individual pixels. I wouldn't necessarily buy the camera just because you can shoot it in 6K. However, it is an upside to be able to shoot 6K B-RAW, 50 frames per second out of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K for such a low price. So those two pros really tie into the main benefit of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K, which is the price. If you are trying to compare the Blackmagic to something within its realm, there's just nothing like it on the market. I mean, you guys are literally getting a camera that is extremely capable for $2,000 or less, which is really the biggest upside and the plus of buying this camera. But I do want to mention to you guys that if you are thinking, oh, I'm gonna buy this camera because it's only gonna cost me $2,000, just account an extra $2,000, maybe $1,500 just to get into the camera. Camera really shines when it's all rigged out. And one big problem with the 6K, which they did fix with the 6K Pro, is it doesn't have a tilt out screen back here, which is gonna, you know, really make you have to get an external monitor to be able to get, you know, shots kind of like in this position. And one problem that I do have with that setup is that let's say that you're on a shoot, you're getting ready to shoot something, you need to change the ISO. Click the ISO button on the camera, but really you have to kind of change it on the screen here. So the issue that it's going to give you is that it's going to be harder to see on the screen right here. It's, you know, you're really like, basically my workflow would be I'm shooting something, looking at it, oh, I need to change something, I'll look at the settings here, make a couple changes, boom, I'm back and I'm ready to go, which just kind of defeats the whole workflow of the camera. That all being said, it just looks like a beast when you guys pull up the shoots. Nobody would look at this camera and be like, oh, he only paid $2,000 for that camera, because it just looks like an absolute beast. And the image that this thing provides, as mentioned many times in the video, is just absolutely insane. So after going through the image quality, going through the amazing internal recording options, and also going through the price point, it leaves you with the next question. Why would you not want to buy this camera, and what are the downsides with the camera? So the number one known issue that everybody talks about with these cameras, and that is the battery life. Guys, the battery life on this camera is absolute trash. Go watch any other video you want to. They're awful, okay? You're not gonna get very good battery life with this camera, especially if you're shooting in 6K. Any of the B-raw, you're gonna get less than 30 minutes, sometimes less than 20 minutes of actual record time on this camera. Basically, that leaves you with two options. You either buy a V-mount battery, you know, to attach this camera to on your rig for an extra 300, 400 bucks, you know, as far as including the mount, the battery and all that, or you just buy a bunch of Blackmagic batteries, which is what I did. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a pain in the ass, because when I'm out on a shoot, I have to consistently switch out these batteries, and it just completely, you know, ruins the workflow. I'll be shooting, I'll be ready for a shot, I'll be out, you know, getting a perfect shot, and boom, I have to switch another battery, and then another battery, and then sometimes I even put in an extra 2 batteries charging, you know, while I'm actually on a shoot, because I'm worried that maybe I'll run out of battery life and I'll have to get another 2 batteries. Battery life is absolute trash on the camera. I want you guys to keep that in mind, you know, when you are making the purchase. The next downside of the camera is gonna be the fact that it's pretty much an all manual camera as far as economics, all of the controls. So it does have some auto features in it. It's nothing like shooting on a Sony or a Canon DSLR. Starting off with ISO and starting off with the shutter speed, it's basically completely manual. So you're gonna have to really get in there and change the settings as you're shooting. There's also no internal stabilization on the camera, which they actually fixed with the new gyro capabilities in one of the recent updates, which works surprisingly well, but it is a little bit different. It's not gonna be the same as internal stabilization, and it's just an extra step that you're gonna have to make in post-production. And the last is obviously no autofocus. Guys, a lot of high-end cinema cameras don't have autofocus, so for some people trying to get into the cinema world, really doesn't matter or affect them. But if you're just getting into getting one of your first higher-end cameras, it's something to consider, because you're literally gonna have to pull focus on every single shoot. There's nothing worse than getting the perfect shot that's out of focus. I've literally done it so many times. You're literally back, oh my God, I got this amazing shot. You're watching it on the computer, and boom, it's out of focus. Take some practicing and getting used to. Some people don't mind pulling the focus themselves. Just another step that gets in the way of the creative process. Thankfully, as long as you guys put in the time to learn it, you guys won't have an issue and it should be okay. So one final problem that I do have with the camera is, I'm not gonna say that the build quality is bad, but it kind of reminds me of GoPro in a way, right? You're gonna get an amazing image out of the camera. It has some amazing capabilities for the price, but that usually comes with a cost. And for me, the cost is just the glitchiness and the overall workflow of the camera. Very similar to GoPro. I've had a lot of instances where the camera just freezes up on me mid-shoot. I have to pull out the battery, I have to restart it. I've had a lot of instances where it's recording and then all of a sudden the recording just stops, and it had nothing to do with the speed of the card. The camera just stopped recording for whatever reason. And the buttons and things like that are not built to really last through some things like sand or snow. No camera is really built for that, but it's just something to keep in mind when you're buying this camera. So that all being said, I want to give you guys my final conclusion of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K and if I think it's worth buying in 2023. I think the first question is it still worth it in 2023? Absolutely. but it also kind of depends on what it is that you guys are going to be doing within the filmmaking world. You guys are going to have a lot more time to learn the camera and to understand how it works, and you guys want to really focus your time on getting that best quality image. And I think that the Blackmagic Pocket 6K is a great option. However, if you're somebody who is going to be doing more run and gun filmmaking, is going to be shooting commercials, going to be shooting events, this is a camera that is going to be very tedious when it comes to autofocus, when it comes to the settings, will probably get in the way of your workflow. That all being said, I think that you guys should kind of take everything that I mentioned in this video, do a little bit more research to make up the best decision for you. Just keep in mind that there is a huge learning curve using an all-manual camera, and it's something that you guys need to take into consideration. I myself have an A7S III and a Blackmagic, so depending on the shoot is which one I'll actually choose. And if it's a higher budget film where I feel like the Blackmagic Pocket is gonna just produce an overall higher image, and the fact that I get raw imaging when it comes to color grading and ease of use, then I'll use the Blackmagic. But if it's something like a quick commercial and I just need to get the job done as quickly as possible, I'll use the A7S III because of the amazing autofocus and just the overall build quality and ease of use of the camera. Blackmagic Pocket 6K is an absolutely great camera, and I would recommend it to anybody who wants to get into the cinema world. I'm looking forward to getting a red camera in the future. It's just a great entry camera into the cinematography world. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you guys learned something about that Blackmagic Pocket 6K. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. I've been using it for 2 years, so I have a decent amount of experience with the camera. Love to help you guys, give you guys some value. Any questions that you guys might have about the camera. As always, guys, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and peace out.